We are actually remoting today at the MacArthur McDonald's because, well, there's a few things going on with the studio, but also we chose this place because, unfortunately, it is going to be going out of business soon, which makes us all very sad.
Yep.
Of course, like I said, welcome to Sleeper Hole, where there's no disqualification on the topics and falls count anywhere. We got a good show for you. Of course, I got my two awesome co-hosts right here. So, let's get this ball rolling because we got some good stuff to talk about. First of all, we're going to talk about some news and rumors and everything else. I want to start with a rumor that you found out about the titles. Go ahead and let them know about this.
I read an article on Ringside News that WWE is considering changing the title designs of the Intercontinental and the U.S. titles. To what, we don't know yet, but that's to be seen.
Yeah, and I mean, I read up on this after I saw that you posted about it, and they basically are teasing about it, but they haven't really shown any design. Yeah. My biggest concern is so far every single belt has the double W's, super sharp looking, and the only thing that's different about it is the background color.
Yeah.
That concerns me. I don't want any more of that because it just makes no uniqueness to it. It makes it very cookie cutter. Yeah. And the other thing is, please keep the white leather strap for the Intercontinental title. It looks so pretty.
Well, that way it's also somewhat unique, too. I mean,
plus it still keeps that prestige to it.
Yes.
If anything, they should probably just go back to the classic. I mean, I know they can't do some of it because of the copyrights with the WWF.
But doing the white leather was one of the original designs, and I think they should keep that. If anything, do something like that with the other titles. I mean, even if, what is it, like US is on Raw?
Yes.
Do a red hide. You can get red leather hide. Trust me, I know somebody who works with leather. You can do that.
Okay.
I mean, mix it up, make it nice. Like, that's one thing I wish they did with the women's division. We were actually just talking about this a second ago. Is I wish they kind of would have kept the Divas title design with the butterfly.
Yeah.
And made that for one division, while they did the classic 1990s women's title design, like back when it was Trish Stratus and all that. Yeah. And did that for SmackDown or vice versa, or whatever, because that would make them so distinct. The only really distinct titles we still have is the U.S. title, the IC title, NXT, the new one in Europe, and the Cruiserweight. Why are those so great? They're different. Different is good.
Yes.
Instead of just the uniformity. I mean, they can have the uniformity of at least, a common branding logo.
Yeah.
But not having the uniformity of design from one end of the belt to the other. I mean, they're obviously different classes of titles, so they should obviously have different designs with a little touch that connects all of them.
Yeah. And how to think of it this way is, I get why the Universal title and the World title have the same design. They are top card or end card, as they call it.
Now, when they did the brand split, I was highly disappointed they didn't bring back the big gold belts. It's like that.
Yeah, I will give you that. I was expecting that too, but the thing is, the IC and the US are supposed to be your mid-card belts.
Yeah.
So it's good that they are unique because you got to have something for the mid-cards to work up with.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing is that the mid-card, actually the thing is the mid-cards became really good.
Yeah.
I look forward to the mid-card more than I do the big main event. The only time that's an exception is the women. The women really have stepped up their game. I got to give them a lot of props. So, you got that going on. Another great news, and this is actually a news update that's good, and then we'll get to the sad news, is our first official inductee into the Hall of Fame is Kurt Angle. And he's an awesome wrestler.
That brings back some memories for sure. That brings back some memories.
He is an awesome wrestler. He's also an Olympic champion.
Olympic gold medalist.
Gold medalist.
With a broken freaking neck.
Yeah. I always love that part. So, I mean, before we go too far, what were some of you guys' favorite memories of Angle in the wrestling ring?
So many.
There's quite a few. Like, personally, I remember back whenever he first came over to professional wrestling. I mean, after his actual, like, Olympian wrestling. The fact that he came in and there was a lot of, I don't remember the exact wrestlers that were giving him a lot of crap saying that he didn't belong there, that he wasn't good enough to compete with them, even with his fancy gold medals that he always wore to the ring, his red, white, and blue that he always had on. When they started to turn him heel, though, and then he ended up losing his hair. And, that was that was pretty good.
And another really classic moment is the famous milk thing.
Yes, I love the milk truck. That was one of my favorites. He earned his keep a lot, and he was willing to be the butt of the jokes.
Yes.
Very few wrestlers are willing to do that, and he encouraged it.
Yeah.
People thought that he really hated when he became the butt of the joke with Edge. No, he loved it. Just as much as he loved the whole feud between him and Triple H over Stephanie McMahon.
Oh, yeah.
The one thing that I think I like the most about him is he's one of those guys who was so experienced that he was willing to help push the newcomers. And the best example that everybody remembers is introduction of John Cena.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, who are you? Who the heck do you think you are? And why do you think you should wrestle me? Well, I'm John Cena, and I got ruthless aggression. I mean, you could say that a wrestler would have to go through that, but you have to. If you don't say that they're willing to do it, you could tell when they're not willing to take that fall for a new blood. Right. No, he was willing to work with them and push people. That's really big talent, in my opinion.
That would be like a really high class, like 20+ year veteran pitcher intentionally throwing somebody a right down the middle fastball for them to just knock out of the park so they could get their first home run.
Yeah.
Like, and the batter would be a nobody just so they could get their first one from a big name.
Yeah, which turns them into somebody.
Yeah, so immediately. I mean, you do something like that, you take down somebody that's a huge veteran. I mean, that's your name's in the books forever, especially if that's your first one.
Now, other news, and unfortunately this is the sad news. Jimmy Superfly Snuka, a legend in this business, passed away on January 15th after his long battle with stomach cancer and dementia. He was 73 years old. Now, I was hoping to have an audio snippet of one of my friends, Bees from Chicago, who actually knew Snuka and was going to share some memories, but unfortunately time got away from us. So I want to let's go around the table a little bit, talk about what we may remember from watching him while growing up or anything like that. I mean, I know you're the youngest of us, so I don't know what you may remember.
Now, I'll start. Now, the one thing that probably pops into everybody's mind, and I'm, obviously the youngest, so, the one thing that I remember is him doing the leap off the cage.
Yeah, which really made his status. It made him go from, everybody wants to be the next Hogan to everybody wants to be the next Snuka. I mean, even you look at the people who we grew up watching and idolizing, like the Hardys and Edge and all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, not so much Edge. He already talked about who his favorites were and what he grew up, but like the Hardys, they wanted to be high flyers. Yeah. Why? Snuka. Mick Foley. What got him into wrestling? Snuka. There was so many people that were affected by Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and it's funny because you have people now who are like, well, the Hardys got me into it. Well, what got the Hardys into it? It all chains back to these legends, and I love that.
I mean, hell, I imagine even Rey Mysterio could even say Snuka had something involved with him.
Probably.
Totally.
I mean, personally, I just remember a lot of his interaction, not just with the fans, but also with the corporation.
Yeah.
I mean,
he loved the business.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
the only other memory I know I have of him is it's one that I kind of have to laugh about because one of my favorite classics is Hot Rod, Roddy Piper.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And there's during a Piper's Pit, Hot Rod cracked a coconut over Snuka's head. Not planned, not scripted. Just happened, and I mean, for a while there was a big old feud up because it's like you literally probably gave him a concussion by breaking a super hard coconut over a skull of somebody without any warning. Yeah. Now, did it make for great TV? Yeah. Could it have possibly played a factor in Snuka having dementia? Probably.
Depending on where you got hit with it.
Yeah. I mean, so who knows? But it made them both very legendary. I'm not saying it was the thing, because like I said, the cage was probably the biggest thing for Snuka. And Hot Rod had his own different stuff. But those are things that just push you. And that was the great thing about them.
First step on the ladder, proverbially.
Yeah. Okay, so besides all the news, rumors, sad news, all that stuff, of course we have to talk about the results of these past Monday and Tuesday. Monday Night Raw, Enzo Amore and Big Cass defeated Rusev and Jinder Mahal. Not really much I can say about that except for that I'm happy that my guys won.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of In-Zone Big Cats. They're entertaining.
Yes.
I know some people can't stand them, but I think they're entertaining. Arya Daivari defeated Lance Dorado in a cruiserweight match.
Okay.
That was good. Gallows and Anderson defeated Sheamus and Cesaro after a controversial disqualification. Sheamus, without meaning to, punched a referee.
Yeah.
And almost lost the titles because another referee came in and counted the 1, 2, 3 to give Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson the belts. But then the initial referee was like, no, wave it off. They're disqualified. Title won't change hands because Sheamus punched me. This I know is going to push for a main event thing or a big event thing like one of the pay-per-views. That's what they're aiming for. They're making it controversial. Even though it was unintentionally happened by Sheamus, it's going to build up.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm glad that Sheamus and Cesaro didn't lose their belts. I'm not a huge fan of Gallows and Anderson. They've got talent, they've got skill, and they got potential. But they made themselves out to be very cookie cutter. And personally, I don't like the fact that they use the too sweet thing. I know they've been using it forever, but that was NWO.
Oh, yeah.
I have an issue with the Bullet Club doing it, personally. I know you don't. And you and I had a little talk about this one time on Facebook, and I know you're wearing the Bullet Club shirt. But that's the great thing about this, is that we can... That's why I picked these guys.
Yeah.
They're not going to have the same ideas as me. It makes it great.
It's freaking... Yeah. No,
Like,
I remember...
totally agree that it's the NWO ripoff.
It is.
But it's still cool. It's our generation's NWO.
Just to like give a hair political. That's like why fucking. Oh, excuse me. That's why freaking Make America Great Again was bull crap, because that was Ronald Reagan's thing.
See, I don't.
That's all I'm going with
that.
that. That's all I'm going with that.
I don't follow politics.
You just-
so I didn't know that.
You're just recycling things that maybe younger viewers like Taylor here haven't been familiar with, just because, not to say that you aren't familiar with it, but others that are your age wouldn't be familiar with it because of the fact that it was a thing for the NWO. Not just the NWO, but particular members from the NWO.
Yeah, like the Outcasts.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, moving forward though, Neville, the king of the cruiserweights, I'm going to call him that because I know it's supposed to be self-proclaimed, but I'm proclaiming it as well. He is the king of the cruiserweights.
I think you got that one. I'm not partaking in the king.
He jumped Rich Swann, and so and he's got a match for him with the pay-per-view, which is going to be great. But go for it, show him who's boss. I'm all about that. I don't know what you guys stand on this, but
I personally love the new Neville.
Yeah, I do too. I think the new heel is what Neville needed.
Yeah.
And,
because he was going nowhere as a babyface.
Yeah, I mean, and granted, we do have a lot of people who followed him and loved him. My wife is one of them. She's a big Neville fan. Not only does she think he's a great athlete, but she finds him very attractive. Just like she drools over Roman Reigns, which is fine. That's her pick. But it's one of those things that I like the heel Neville.
Yeah.
For the longest time, the commentators calling him an elf. They were calling him a hobbit. They're making fun of his ears and everything else and his British accent.
Sorry, going all nerdy on
not
that.
British.
Those are two different.
Yeah, I know.
Elf, hobbit.
Yeah.
That's like the difference between me and Taylor here.
No lie.
It was proven last week.
But so Neville being heel is great. And I'm going to stand beside him and say, king of the cruiserweights.
Yes.
We will see that at Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Bayley, one of my girls, stood up to Charlotte Flair, and she schooled her. Charlotte tried to embarrass her with old high school poetry, grade school poetry.
Yeah, there was even a thing going on Facebook calling her the Doctor of Hugonomics.
She was dishing out like that.
That sounds like someone else that used to use something similar to that. Doctor of Economics.
Yeah. Well, and I think the reason why they were doing it is because they did talk about how when Bayley was growing up, one of her favorite wrestlers was John Cena. But you know what?
How old are we, man?
The girl has charisma. She does. I am so happy for Bayley to be just rocking it. And I'm crossing my fingers, hoping and praying that my hugger will become the next women's champion for Raw, because that would be awesome. I have two women of wrestling that I follow, and Bailey's one of them, and if I ever have to meet her, yeah, you better believe I'm getting a hug. I know I have to wait in line because the service dog's probably going to get it first, but anyway.
We all know about the other one you're obsessed with.
My natty. We'll get to her in a little bit. Cedric Alexander defeated the Brian Kendrick. Honestly, I like that Kendrick's a heel. I like that he uses his wits more than his actual techniques. But I don't get behind it as much as I do other people. I mean, I love cruiserweights. I really do. Cruiserweights is my favorite thing of WCW. But when it comes to our cruiserweight division now, the main people I keep an eye on is Neville and what's his name? He's the one that has a video game entrance. I can't remember.
TJ Parker.
TJ, yeah, TJP. Those are my guys.
Formerly known as Suicide.
Yeah. Big E was challenged his spot in the Royal Rumble against Titus O'Neil, and Big E beat Titus for it after Titus tried to run his mouth and embarrass him. Well, didn't quite work, did it, huh, bud?
That sounds familiar.
I slowly think Titus is going to phase out to where he's not going to renew his contract. And they're just trying to make him have a little bit of airtime before that happens.
Just to kind of burn it out.
Yeah, I think so. Y2JKO, as I like to call them, Jericho and Kevin Owens, teamed up with Braun Strowman and defeated Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Sami Zayn. It was not bad. It was a pretty good match, but it was one that you kind of knew was going to happen. So, yeah. That pretty much is Raw in a nutshell. Raw has been fizzling. And I'm hoping that with some of the stuff that they have going on, especially with more utilizing the cruiserweights and the women are really helping step up the game, that's what's going to keep them afloat right now. But they really need to push that and then make some more psychological, clever moves with the guys to help them get those ratings up really high.
A little side note that I forgot to mention, it was shown on Facebook that before Raw went on the air, Nia Jax attacked Sasha Banks.
Yes, I forgot all about that. So yeah, Sasha got injured while trying to prove that she was ring ready. More than likely by Monday she'll be back, and she'll be back with a vengeance. We're going to have a good feud with that. Nia Jax is a force to be reckoned with. And the funny part is, you know, a lot of times when they have bigger girls like that, they really downplay them. They don't let them be elevated. I mean, that's like Tamina Snuka. They had her going good for a while, and then they just fizzled her out. They had other people back.
Another good example is Awesome Kong.
Yeah. They had so many of them out there, and they're letting Nia Jax shine, and I love that. And the thing is, also, Nia Jax carries herself well, appearance-wise. She doesn't look like some scary big girl behemoth. No, she makes herself look very beautiful. Like, I actually like her intro when it shows just her face and she's looking around. It's like, she's got a really pretty face.
Yeah, she really does.
She does, and she carries herself well, build-wise as well.
Yeah.
And she makes it the bigger girls know that, hey, I can be awesome too.
Yeah.
Just because I don't have the supermodel body doesn't mean I can't get into some type of wrestling, sports, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree.
SmackDown. First and foremost, I missed part of SmackDown because I was having technical difficulties at home, so I had to do a bit of catch-up, which I always hate doing, but it is what it is. The good news is, though, I found out that Shane McMahon had announced that the next big pay-per-view for SmackDown is the Elimination Chamber.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of my favorites. Yeah, exactly, one of my favorites. You have the Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chamber, and Hell in a Cell. Those are my three. That's what I call my trifecta. And the Elimination Chamber will happen with the championship, the heavyweight championship on the line, or world championship is what it is.
Yeah.
So
they went back to calling it the WWE title.
Oh, I think that's right, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah. But still, that title will be on the line, whether it's John Cena, who's the champion, or AJ Styles. Who knows? But it's going to be good. So I'm looking forward to that because, again, Elimination Chamber, those always go crazy. I'm actually waiting to happen. This is what I'm predicting. They haven't said it yet, but because everybody's wanting to raise the bar with the women, you will have a women's title Elimination Chamber before it's all said and done. Those girls are going to go through something brutal.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
I mean,
Charlotte and Sasha did Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, they've had Hell in a Cell, Steel Cage.
Yeah. I mean,
Hell in a Cell was always something that brought back some, like...
Oh, yeah.
That brings back some memories, and it also makes it when you'd see at the beginning of the broadcast that thing hovering above the...
You just know, you get that chill.
You get that chill and the goosebumps, and you get your hair just stands on end, and you're like, oh, I wonder what's going to go on in there.
One of the things I can't ever unsee, the whole Mick Foley with tooth stuck up his nose. It's like, between that and all the thumbtacks, and the thing is, I've been to actual local shows where they've done thumbtacks, and it always makes me cringe because I go to the back to say, hey, good job, guys, because they all know me. I do the sleeper hold, but I'll see people helping the guy get those out, and I'm like, oh, those are so painful.
Even though it's just a little bitty thumbtack, it's like, oh my god, does that hurt?
Yeah.
And then you smack yourself because you realize you just asked a really stupid question.
Exactly.
They've got like a couple hundred thumbtacks that are just in various spots and all varying depths of their skin.
So
it just makes it chill just thinking about it.
Okay, moving on.
So after that, we had a little verbal confrontation with AJ Styles, Miz, and John Cena. Ended up with AJ Styles and the Miz had a match that ended up with a no contest because AJ got John Cena involved, and eventually ended up with John Cena doing a does it still call the FU, or we call it the attitude adjustment? That's it.
Attitude adjustment.
Yeah, he did the attitude adjustment to both Styles and the Miz. See, that's the thing is, I remember the old name moves when I do the new moves.
So I'm like, wait a minute, FU, yeah, I remember that.
So Cena
to conform to the PG era.
After that, we had Natalya throw a temper tantrum, which makes me a little embarrassed to say, but she did. She was at a merchandise stand, she was playing back because everybody else had merchandise out but her. And I have a Natty shirt, and I love it, but still, she was mad, and she ended up saying some things to insult her uncle, who happens to be my #1 favorite wrestler of all time. So I was like, oh, no. Like, she disowned him as an uncle.
Damn.
And I'm like, why, girl, why? You're breaking my heart. But it ended up with Nikki going up there, and they had a brawl at the merchandise stand. Now, granted, I'm pretty sure, as always, it's just a ruse, it's just an act, it's just a story. But it's like, man, the fact that they're willing to push that envelope again is kind of rough. Especially since, when they did that with Charlotte and Ric Flair, that was painful to watch. And it's like, with the Hearts, that family's always been like super tight.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that whole emotional impact, even if it's just a ruse or a story.
I think it was last week or the week before, having Anderson rip the head off the teddy bear.
The teddy bear of
I didn't catch that.
Bailey gave Goldust a teddy bear with a Dusty Rhodes outfit on because Dusty Rhodes really helped elevate Bailey. Well, Anderson came by, grabbed the teddy bear, ripped the head off, and then just walked on. And it's like, dude!
Yeah, and you could tell Goldust was mad.
Yeah, he kind of broke out of his normal...
Like, that's the legend Dusty Rhodes. No. Moving on, though, we had Dean Ambrose go against Randy Orton with the Wise, and he won. There's a lot to say that, Luke Harper got involved and caused distraction, which just distracted Randy Orton. Honestly, watching it, I kind of agree, but it is what it is. I know that Dean Ambrose was getting on Harper's nerve as well and messing around with Harper. But the best part is, after the match, we saw the Wyatts explode. Like, they seriously had a family just self-destruct. To the point where even Harper hit Wyatt. And Wyatt turned around, Bray turned around and almost beat the crap out of Luke Harper like he was about to, before Luke Harper's like, well, he started it. And of course, he confronted Randy Orton. And now we know, Tuesday, the two members of the Wyatt family, Harper and Orton, will duke it out. And then they were supposed to be all happy again. Here's what I want to ask you guys, and I'm still going to stick to this. Randy Orton's playing a mind game. He's not really interested in being part of the Wyatts. Like, he kept doing the whole, if you can't, then join them. Well, yeah, you join them
but how many people in the past have done that? Exactly.
You join them to mislead them, and then you turn on.
Yeah.
Randy Orton is a third-generation veteran. He knows.
World champion.
Yeah, he knows how to play the game.
I still don't like the guy. I've never liked the guy since he first stepped in the ring. I've just never cared for Randy Orton. So my opinion in that aspect is going to be just
whatever.
I don't care pretty much. I mean, as much as I respect the family that he comes from, I don't like him as an act. I don't like him as a wrestler. I don't like him as a person.
Yeah.
It took me a little. I'll be honest, because I met Cowboy Bob at APW show. And when I first was talking to him, because I was like, hey, I'm part of this podcast, we talk about wrestling, all that stuff, he was very standoffish, and I wanted nothing to do with me. At first I was like, well, fine, forget you and this and that. I was really offended. Then I realized that's actually him. He keeps himself, he's very introverted. Yeah. So
as opposed to his personality in the ring.
Yeah, which is fine, because you know what? I still got an autograph out of the guy. I'm happy.
That's probably about as far as it goes. He doesn't really like doing the interviews.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is he gave me an autograph. I was like, do you mind if I ask you a few words for the podcast? Not really. No. And I'm like, okay then. Jerry the King Lawler hosted his show, The King's Court, which if you've ever seen the classic old school stuff, it's great. Yeah. If you haven't, go watch it. It's great. He interviewed Dolph Ziggler. Now, as we all know, Dolph Ziggler's gone gradually into a major heel turn. Good for Dolph. I'm very happy for this. He does better as a heel than a face. The face, he tries to be all smile and arrogant and everything else, which is fine, because it can work. I've done it before as a face manager, did my arrogant priest thing. But when you're out there performing and you have that much arrogance and brash and showboating and everything else, you work better. It's better to be a heel. It's a lot easier to be that jerk face than to try to do it and make people laugh and be like, I like this guy, I want to root for him.
To be that arrogant and be still considered the good guy.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the only one that could really pull it off, when we talked about this is Edge.
Yeah. And even then, he had his... Yeah. He was like Cena is now. He had his fans, he had his haters.
Yeah. He kind of walks that proverbial line between the two.
Absolutely.
And he can kind of dip
dance
from
around
both sides.
And then another one that's like classic, that's Austin.
Yeah. I didn't think about that.
I don't know if I would definitely put him in that same...
he could...
He didn't,
up and the next person would cheer for him.
But he didn't walk that line. Like, whenever he did it,
he just didn't care.
He jumped back and forth. Like, he didn't go from, like, he didn't... Like, if he was walking down the sidewalk, he didn't dip his... his pinky toe into the road and then into somebody's yard. No, this guy, and I almost said something else, but this guy would just literally jump from the sidewalk into the guy's front yard and then middle of the street and then back across. Like, there was no dancing around it. He jumped.
The only guy who'd make jumps like that also got booed and cheered almost simultaneously was The Rock. When The Rock, especially when The Rock started doing his musical notes, musical songs to insult the fans. I always loved that, personally. But anyway, so Dolph was his guest. Jerry was trying to get out of him why the sudden personality change, and Dolph wouldn't give it to him.
Now, I personally hate that when big time face finally turns heel. Everybody keeps on asking why. Yeah, week after week after week.
Well, unless it's like fans that have known him for a long time that actually finally go, you're actually going to let yourself go and be who you should be versus being this wrong one.
Well, the main thing though is that they kept Lawler tried to ask why, Dolph wouldn't give it, so Lawler used a video to try to coax him, and basically ended up with Dolph super kicking Lawler.
That's why I think
in the
Ziggler
chest.
used the video of him dropping the elbow on Lawler.
And then Lawler had a heart attack. Then he was like, I probably caused that, which honestly, health-wise, probably not, but it's a good thing for a story angle. Lawler's not always in the best of health, let's be honest.
And considering he'd been in the ring for a long time.
But the thing is, trying to do the whole super kick to the chest, like he was kicking the heart area again to cause a bit of a scare. The best part is that JBL quickly dropped his headset and went to Lawler's aid. So there's now been a lot of discussion on different avenues of social media, basically saying, okay, what's going to happen with this? Is Dolph going to go against Lawler? Is Dolph going to go against JBL? Or is this just going to segue to Dolph becoming like a legend killer or just major heel? All these choices are great. But only one I see that would not be a great choice is having Lawler back in the ring for a match. Now, JBL, I would love to see JBL go against Ziggler. I think that'd be some big hype.
It'd be an interesting match, but to have Lawler back in the ring, he doesn't belong in the ring unless he's announcing somebody or bringing somebody in. And maybe around it if he decides to manage somebody. Yeah. But there's...
Managers are so few and far between, which makes me sad, but we're going to get to that.
But still, I mean, it's that, like, he doesn't belong in the ring. He's long since retired. If anything, he should just go right back, continue to sit right on the sidelines like he used to do.
Like, I could see them doing something like they did a couple years ago with Cole and Miz. Yeah. He's like totally obsessed with the person going against him.
Yeah, and that could be. Alexa Bliss went up against Becky Lynch in a steel cage match. And it was a great match, guys. I tell you, I loved it. The only thing that really kind of set me is
Becky Lynch.
And that's a good point. Redheads are awesome. But then La Luchadora got involved. And she helped Alexa Bliss win, and then they were trying to jump Becky, and Becky recovered and knocked them both down. And then we finally found out who La Luchadora is. It's none other than former women's champion, Mickie James.
Yes.
I'm actually kind of happy about this.
Yes, because personally, not cut you off, but personally, this has always been one of my dream matches, Mickie James against Becky.
Yeah. Mickie, it's kind of interesting for me because Mickie was always the bubbly baby face of the women's division. And now to see the adult Mickie James willing to be a heel, it's like, somebody got her big girl pants on. This is kind of interesting. So
to see it flip instead of a gradual shift over to it.
Yeah,
but absolutely. I think that time in that other company helped too.
Yeah, I think so.
That other company.
Those who shall not be named.
I was just thinking that too. The company that shall not be named.
So that's
big and they stop doing it.
And that's where my whole thing comes from. Watch your ego.
Yeah.
If you want to get respect from other talent, if you want to get respect from people, pay your dues. And I understand if you're like, hey, I've been doing this for 10 plus years, I've already paid my dues.
But
you never stop paying your dues.
No. And on that same note, I think it was last year, there's a picture of, I believe it was Luke Gallows. Might have been Anderson, but I think it was Luke Gallows. The night after WrestleMania, they had a live event. He was there helping set up and tear down the ring.
And that I respect it so much. I really do, because that shows me that no matter how big you are, you're in it for the big picture. You're in it for making everybody shine, everybody look good, everybody doing things. And honestly, you got, and even if you're not part of that crew that helps set up and tear down, give them respect.
Yes.
I sat there and I actually asked my wife this on Monday. I was like, those ropes were just red. Now it's a cruiserweight thing, and between commercial break and from regular to cruiserweight, those ropes are now purple. And it's not a light effect, because the rest of the place is not blue to make it go red and blue makes purple. It's like, so on that small window, they are having people run in, take down all those ropes, which are not easy to do.
No, they're not. I know.
And then you putting them back up, new ones, and then taking them back down. That is insane. Now,
to be able to go from being in the spotlight and then at the end getting your hands dirty to take something apart afterward, the very thing that you were performing in. I mean, that's not just a respect that's given. That's an earned respect for sure.
And the other thing I would say that's a great way to earn respect from what I notice and what I personally believe as a person who formerly owned a company. don't be afraid to go up to people afterwards and say, hey, dude, great match. Or, hey, did you watch my match? What pointers do you have for me? Yeah. Did I do a good job? Did I struggle somewhere? Don't be above humbling yourself.
Yeah.
But also don't get offended whenever if there's any pointers or any what's the word I'm looking for? Any critique that you're given. Don't get offended, but also be grateful for the opinions and critique that you are given, whether positive or negative.
Yeah, and even if you get critique, it doesn't always mean you have to take every last one. No. You may find out that, okay, what they're suggesting is not for me, but really mull it over. I mean, you may be one of those people who really wants to be a high flyer, like I used to want to be. Well, I don't have the legs for it. And if I was to go and ask me, well, hey, how did I do with that flip or whatever? They're like, dude, you really shouldn't be doing that. It doesn't look pretty. It doesn't look good. Yeah, it may suck at first. It really would. But then I had to think about it. It's like, you know what? No, I'm more of a ground and pound. I'm more of a ground tactical wrestler, which is why my two favorite people I always wanted to copy my moves from was Bret Hart and Edge. Those two rarely took to the ropes, like to the top turnbuckle. Yeah. They also, aside from a very few small times, did they have dive through the ropes. And by that, I'm talking about Ed with spearing through the ropes to a burning table.
He may shake, but that's ingrained in my memory.
So, I mean, don't worry about humbling yourself. To be a big thing about respect regardless, but there's a really big part about respect for your talent. And I've seen this locally where if you have respect level from your talent, and that talent's going to go to a show, and they're like, hey, we have more slots that we need to fill for booking, or even if they don't, the person may go, hey, I have so-and-so over here who's really good. Do you mind if I bring them along? Or do you have a slot? I mean, they will stand up and actually speak out for you. They'll actually try to go the extra mile for you. Yeah. So working with your talent's great, but it doesn't stop there. Yeah. You have your whole company that you're working with. Now, granted, I'm using this as exclusivity, not just, like some of our local people here, they go to different companies, which is fine. Let yourself grow. That's what I would say. But we're going to get about that. But when it comes to your company, like, say, the people who work with PWA, don't just worry about the talent. Respect your ownership. Respect the sound guy. Respect the lighting. Respect any and everything that has to do that makes that show happen, makes those people great. Give credit where credit's due. Yeah. Even give it to the trainer. You may not have been trained under that guy, but the person you're going against may have been. Yeah. So, hey, thanks for training them. Thanks for doing all that.
Respect the security.
Security gets so overlooked.
Yeah. They may seem like it's not a big deal, but I've seen personal experiences where a fan got out of line, and if the security guy wasn't there at that right moment, who knows what could have happened. Yeah. And plus, some of these guys have traveled 2, 3, 4 hours just for one little match.
Yeah. A lot of security and referees are considered like the redheaded stepchild when it comes to this type of category, because they do get so overlooked. They don't get as much respect as they deserve and credit as they deserve.
Yeah. In other words, just respect everybody.
Yeah.
Because you don't know at one point in time one of these people are going to be responsible for that fraction of a second where you're dancing the line between getting severely injured or having someone stop you from getting severely injured.
And another point, we had a fan break out a fight at one of our shows over this past summer.
Oh, snap. And didn't know about this one.
Yeah, it was at the Slider game.
Oh.
And 2 of our wrestlers had to break up the fight.
I bet a lot of people do it from up to X there.
Yeah. And the thing is, the reason why I'm talking about that with the other people is not only because, like you said, respect everybody, but a lot of those guys who are security or referees, even management, they're training. They want to be in that ring with you and eventually against you. So if you can respect them, you've already got that step taken care of about respecting your fellow peers. And they're going to more likely come to you in the future and say, hey, I like you, you're awesome, can you give me some pointers? Then you become the leader. You become the figurehead that they're looking forward to. And I'm sorry, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I have an ego where I like it when people come to me for advice. That was my favorite part about owning a business, is I was like the talent relation where the talent would come to me and say, hey, how did the match look? Or, hey, I have something that's really upsetting. I was that guy. And it really felt good. So I can imagine for other wrestlers, they could probably fully agree with me on that.
be able to help, but also get the help and receive the help when you need it.
Now, I'm not saying you're going to be like the Undertaker overnight, where you're the governor of behind the scenes, but you never know.
Governor, really?
Well, he was considered like the judge, jury, and executioner. Like if there was a big dispute, he'd be the one to walk in and go, "All right, tell me your side. Tell me your side. All right, this is what I decided," and everybody had to do what he said. And even Vince would be like, "You heard the man."
Well, who can argue with somebody his side? Like, would you argue with that man?
Well, not only that, but with him being the fact that his strikes, his punches are so devastating. If he does not pull back, like they were talking about like how he measured when he was actually sparring and practicing. No. The last category about respect, though, is the community as a whole, and this is where I was talking about. A lot of people go to other companies, and that's good because that's going to be growth. So respect those companies, and if they see that you're respecting most of the community, you may get a call from, "Hey, I have this major company in Iowa. We want you to come." Now, is that true? It's going to be a major company? I don't know. I've seen it before. People said that, and it was another garage thing.
But in their minds, they think they're major.
Yeah, but I've also seen it before where I've talked to people, and they're like, "I had gotten an offer for a major company, and lo and behold, it was a pretty big company. It was a huge sellout, and there were talent scouts there. Talent scouts, you want that?
Yeah,
that's what these guys all aspire for. Because if they get the attention of a talent scout, they may get a call from the WWE, Ring of Honor. Is TNA even still around?
I haven't seen anything.
This is how bad it is for you guys. I'm sorry. I only get to watch so much.
Just recently, one of our guys got a call from Booker T's reality wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's some big stuff right there, man. Booker T. Jeez.
I'm telling you right now, if you're talking about who I think you're talking about, he needs to come back up here and drag Book with him, because I would love to do Book.
Oh, for
Book
sure.
would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, can you dig that?
Sucker.
That's Cena.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, that's Cena.
Yeah, that one.
I'm just not going to do the spin-a-rooney. No.
Neither was so hard.
Oh, yeah. So, I don't think McDonald's would appreciate that if we had to take him out of here because he hurt himself.
They'd probably just laugh. They probably would. I would be laughing. So that's the main stuff for now. No, I don't think the floor would not be a good idea for it. Now, maybe if they popped to have some traction or stuff like that, and wax it up a little bit for me. All right, so those are our main thing, guys. We are going to be wrapping this up here pretty soon, but do any of you guys have any major announcements before I talk about the one thing that was requested for me? Is there anything going on with PWA? Because I know you guys both know PWA.
It's Saturday, right?
Yep, it's Saturday,
Jacksonville. Yeah.
Beauregard's Banquet Hall.
So you got the name of it. I just remembered Jacksonville.
Any matches you want to hype up for them?
We have the main event. It's a 6-man tag. We have Derek Moss teaming with Attitude Inc., Zero Hype, Guy Smith, and Spotlight Spencer Powers.
Wait, is Moscow heel? I didn't know about this? Because
last time I knew, good guys.
Last time I knew, Zero Hype was major heel. He dances.
Yeah.
He's like Austin. He dances around.
Yeah.
Remember what I said. That ain't dancing. That's just full on bouncing around. Yeah. You know what I'm gonna call that? I'm gonna call that the Mario jump. I'm gonna call that the Mario jump.
But anyways, those three will be taking on the team of the PWA Regional Heavyweight Champion Casey Jackson and Ramsey and Jake Lander.
Okay. See, and honestly, that's a hard one for me to pick because I like all the guys. I really do. I've always been a big fan of Moss since the first time I saw him, which was way back. And then I came back to watch PWA, and he was still there. He was doing great.
Yeah.
Guy Smith is such a great wrestler.
One of the absolute greatest.
Yeah. And
not just saying that on a personal level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of other ones. So I mean, but those are like the two big names that I can see there. And Ramsey, he's awesome as well. I mean, he is. Yeah, he's always great about it. Then you also have, like you said, Casey Jackson's really shown me that he got some moves. And I really do, I just lost his name.
Lander.
Yeah, Lander is amazing.
Yes.
The only thing is, now that he is very heel, he doesn't do the high fly, which is fine because a lot of the heels don't usually go for high fly. Mm-hmm. But Lander he's such a great young talent, and he's got so much potential, and they keep pushing him. I don't know where I'm going to call this one. I really don't. I don't know which side I'd go for on this one, so that's going to be good. I won't be able to go see it, though, because I have a wedding to go to.
I will be there.
But these guys will be there. Make sure you go say hi to them.
And then, a little side note, our tag team champions, All Eyes on Us, Nelson Six and Michael Pope, are issuing an open challenge for the PWA Tag Team Championship.
I'm gonna put it here. These guys will take you down. Just saying. All Eyes on Us. You got nothing.
I'll just pick him up and throw him across the ring. He'll be the high flyer for sure.
Just hold that open challenge for another time, another show. And
when we're not there, because we would take you down. Ain't that right?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, do the open challenge next time when all three of us are there. Because I'll let them do it.
Darn funerals.
I'll let them do it, and then I'll be the manager. And I'll talk to Mr. Archie about making sure it's a no holds barred, no disqualification. I have a few kendo sticks that we can bring along.
Yeah. I think I got one of them foldable chairs though.
And I got a baseball bat at home.
Yeah. See, we gotta play. We gotta play. Arch, it happened.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, seriously though. No.
I think I'll remain outside of the ring.
Yeah,
personally. Or under it if I'm fixing it or something like that.
I in my management, I have gotten inside that ring and I've taken a few good bumps and I've been choke slammed, clotheslined, everything else. It's fun, but
yeah.
I think I'll be the manager on the outside of the ring, which I love managing. I really do. It's always great. Last little announcement is also one that I know personally because I've been speaking to the gentleman about it. We have a new and upcoming company in the Eastern Tennessee area. It's known as Live Wire Championship Wrestling. And these guys are actually going to have their first show soon. And it's going to be on February 25th. It is a benefit show to help raise funds for the funeral expenses for a young man who did pass away at the age of 23. I can go into details. I was requested not to. It's fine. But this young guy, it's an unfortunate loss. But the fact that they're doing a benefit show for it even makes me more so want to talk them up. Yeah. I won't be able to make it. There's no way I can make a road drive to Tennessee. I mean, they welcomed it with open arms. I would love if I could afford to do it, but unfortunately not.
Oh, yeah, I would have loved to have gone there, too.
Yeah,
but,
totally.
We're going to definitely talk more with them. I'm going to see if I can find out more details, work with them, and everything, because that's what we're here for. We're here for the talent more than anything. We're here to entertain you guys, of course.
Yeah. Of course.
But my number one goal, as I said from the very first podcast, is any talent I can help push to the next level, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was the wrong, I happened to be reading a comment, and I happened to, snicker at the time.
Oh, no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that was not in any way connected. I was reading a comment.
For those, because I am putting all this stuff on my YouTube thing as well, and you may not be able to see this. One of our local talents here, actually Ramsey, is on our Facebook Live right now talking, and he made a comment about hitting a dude with another dude this upcoming weekend.
So he took my idea.
It's quite comical.
And I was going to,
But back to the show.
Yeah, and we're also going to keep in touch with this, you said Live Wire?
Yeah.
Live Wire.
I'm going to be keeping in touch with them and working with them to find out more details about their talent, everything else. I may even do some recorded calls, so eventually we can drop some information, maybe do a small segment, just having a guy real quickly do a small, kind of like a promo, just talking about themselves, let you know, because I like elevating people. It's awesome.
For sure. And that's where that respect comes in, too.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Now, again, the show, though, is going to be on February 25th. It is at the National Guard Armory in Clarksville, Tennessee. $10 a ticket. I know it seems high to some people, but remember, this is a benefit for funeral expenses. All the proceeds are going to the funeral expenses. These guys are taking none of the money for themselves. That's really awesome. That's really humble. So, I mean, live it what you will. I'm actually looking forward to it. If I had somebody to magically make that trip, I would.
Oh, yeah.
But
no doubt. We'd all be there.
C'est la vie, unfortunately. So, I'm more likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell that guy who I've been working with, hey, get some footage, give me some videos, and I will happily put up somewhere for you. Just like I plan on doing with PWA or any of the other local companies.
I say we'll be there, and they'll be there in recording. So.
Yeah. So who knows what's going to happen next? We'll be back again next week. Actually, this weekend, don't be surprised if we do go Facebook Live a little bit. These gentlemen, like I said, they're going to be at PWA show. They have all the blessings of the host, which is myself, the founder, to say, look, if you want to interview somebody, pop it on, do it. We want to have some fun with this, guys. If you have any suggestions of shows, whatever, send us a message. If you even have ideas of, like, eventually we want to interview some local talent. If any of the talent wants to step up and do some talking, let us know. You have us on Facebook. You can message us at our Sleeper Hold page. Also, we have our Twitter account, which is at Sleeper Hold Cast. We have our website, which is going to be completely revised and revamped, especially with a new logo soon at thesleeperhold.com. And again, like I said, we have YouTube as well, which is going to be under Sleeper Hold Productions. 4 ways to get a hold of us. Don't hesitate. We are happy to work with you guys. We're happy to talk to you guys. It's all about wrestling. It's all about community. We have a great time. Thank you all, and have a great night.